What is up, everybody? Hunter here, and today we are with our guest, Jack McDermott. He is the founder of Nifty Comedians, a platform that is hoping to help not only comedians, but bring comedy to NFTs and NFT universe. I'm really excited. This has been a chat that we've been trying to do for like over 2 weeks. And for numerous reasons, it's been moved and pushed around. So I'm really glad that we finally get to meet. And I'm excited to know more about what you are doing.
Yeah, so great to be here, Hunter. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so maybe you could just, for the people that don't know what Nifty Comedians is maybe explain the background. I know you guys have made some announcements and like your overall goal from the platform.
Yeah, so the overall goal for the platform is to be that sort of comedy NFT niche marketplace, sort of similar to NBA Top Shot or different niche marketplaces, but for comedy. Sort of be a place where comedians can, a one-stop shop where you can collect, trade, sell, also down the line participate in roast battles and have like earn like haha tokens from rating and curating NFTs. So it's really a place for comedy fans to really benefit from supporting comedians, but also comedians to be able to showcase their talent and also sort of take back the lion's share of profits from all the big sort of big agencies in the world, or the big places in the world that have taken sort of the Instagrams of the world or the Twitters of the world. They put hilarious content on their feeds every single day, and those platforms take the lion's share of the profit. So we're trying to take back sort of that sort of probability and value for comedians.
Right. And obviously I think royalties being like a big part of that, like it's the same kind of deal with the music industry where now creators can own their own content. They don't need to have a label and they get those perpetual royalties forever.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Like when it was funny, what started this company was a very innocuous tweet that I made about the idea of, it included royalties, about the idea of jokes as NFTs. And if you have an original joke that's minted on the blockchain, not only is it cultural proof that original joke is yours as the comedian, but also it is, you can earn sort of royalties based off of your original joke. So whenever I talk to a comedian and explain NFTs, it sort of takes them a little bit sort of to get the wrap their heads around it. But once I introduce the concept of royalties and sort of earning sort of a fair amount that people, the value that their content has in society as it sort of gets reshared and resold, it blows their mind, and it really makes them happy and see that their hard work and their comedy that they create across the world is finally being rewarded.
Okay, so I consider myself to be a somewhat funny guy. I'm sure there's people watching this who are gonna like be shaking their head disagreeing. But let's say I have a joke, I record it, and it's a video, like everything's a video on your platform.
Absolutely.
It's funny. How do I monetize that? Like I share on your platform. Is people sharing that or purchasing it, or how am I actually monetizing that?
So for a version 1 launch, which will be sort of a simple sort of collectible marketplace, we're going to have a sort of Instagram TikTok feel. That there will have 3 main categories: comedy clips, podcasts, and written jokes. Once you click into the comedy clip section, you can sort of scroll down like you want to TikTok or Instagram, and sort of those clips will automatically start playing. But then they'll have the actual the collection that they belong to, but also the signed signature from a Mark Norman or a big comedian that's going to be on our platform. So you sort of click on their comedian, their signature, and it'll take you to sort of their cryptographic signature, and you'll be able to sort of. We're going to be having great comedians minting on our platforms and be able to consume content. We're even working on a feature where you can sort of listen to a podcast, and you can, at the end of the podcast, you're going to be able to sort of mint an NFT, let's say a limited edition 1 of 100, that you can share on social, that the comedian can retweet. You can get sort of that social signaling aspect, and you can immediately list it for sale. So it's really rewarding participate. Like I mentioned earlier, NBA Top Shot has a model where they do showcase showdowns, where they sort of outline different sort of points models based on an NBA game. We're gonna have sort of roast battles where you can have a sort of NFT showcase showdown of your common NFTs against someone else's, win haha social tokens, or even rate or curate those NFTs on that sort of TikTok, Instagram feel as you sort of collect your own showcase.
Very interesting. Wow. Okay. So that's a little different than I had originally understood. And when I played around with the platform, I guess, so it's so different because with Top Shot, that was a very, a very easy bridge for people. It's just the digital version of collecting cards. Do you think it's the same for what you're building, or do you think you're going to run into bigger issues of like onboarding and getting people to use your system? I know you just compared to Instagram, but I'm just curious, like your thought process and how you're approaching it.
So there's always been a big place that people just go to consume comedy. Comedy Central being the biggest example of that in the Web2 space, but also even YouTube, of just people going to see their favorite clips of all time. And you'll see millions of people, millions of views on each one. You'll see tons of comments and upvotes and comments, and people getting really into those. There's Mark Norman and other people's specials have been on YouTube and feature like 6 million views. But there's definitely huge centers where people want to consume comedy. Comedy Central being a huge one. So we're sort of going to be that for NFTs, and a place where you can sort of see all your favorite comics, support where comics can support each other, and fans can go to meet, sort of have those comments, have that sort of those joking YouTube comic atmosphere with other fans, and have this sort of building on each other's jokes as you go.
Right. That's so cool. Yeah, that's fascinating. So how are things going right now? I'm curious. And you just had an announcement. I know you said things have been a little crazy. What is the current state of Nifty Comedians? And then what is your, like, I guess 2 month, 3 month, like your very near term goals that you guys are trying to reach?
Sure. Right now we're totally focused on shipping. We've had a couple of great grants from both Human Guild at Near, but also most recently from the Polygon core team. And we've been utilizing those right away to hire people, developers, designers, writers, managers, all in the space, advisors, to create to ship this version 1 platform as soon as possible. So we have a planned launch release date in August. And that's sort of our short-term timeline. Down the line in version 2 and later versions, we're going to incorporate a haha social token, and we're going to sort of incorporate that sort of incentivizing sort of comedy fans, where comedy fans can even benefit more, even beyond curating comedy NFTs. And what's great about this platform, and really also NFTs, but especially with comedians, is if you see a comedian that's really great, and you know it's going to be a huge star. I talked to someone the other day that saw John Mulaney in 2002 and knew he was going to be huge. And I was a fan of Mark Norman's and others and Sam Rose in 2014. And I wish there was a way that I could, support them, or, sort of not buy their stock, but the way that I can really support them. And on Nifty Comedians, not only are we going to incentivize people with curation and fan tokens and participation with the token, social token down the line in version 2 and later versions after August, but also once you buy a sort of an NFT from the up and coming comedian, when down the line, when they become more famous or become more successful, it's a really big social signaling aspect that you were a true fan, you're an OG fan, and it's like a really great collector's item to have.
Right. Yeah, that OG status, as I've learned over the last 24 hours, is it's definitely something that people want, and they want to be able to social signal that they were there early and they're first. And I really I underestimated the value and the power behind like the OG social signaling.
Yeah, I think it's a lot what's driving the CryptoPunks valuation, or just because CryptoPunks is the ultimate, like, you're a CryptoPunk, right? You're a punk in crypto. You're one of the OGs of Ethereum or crypto. And I've shared this in talks with G Money or others in the space, that I really identify with his thread, and about how sort of the signaling in NFTs is really a big use case. Not because it's funny, because I'm not an art guy. I don't necessarily understand art, or never really liked art, but I definitely understand that sort of that signaling aspect, because I explained this sort of to my fiance and others as they were sort of first getting it, of like, why do people wear nice watches? Why do people buy sports cars when they just need to get from point A to point B? Why do people even, I'm in a town with beautiful houses. Why do people have designed houses? It's all about sort of like that signaling aspect, that consuming things that you like, that you enjoy, that makes you feel good, but also just that sort of that status, that sort of that drives that as well.
So with Nifty Comedians, you think it's going to be social signaling for only people that enjoy comedy, or do you think that you're going to have like pull-ins from people that are like, oh, that joke references, I don't know, Fortnite, so then you'll bring in like Fortnite fans who want to like own that
for sure.
That's interesting. And I guess from your perspective, like you didn't get art originally, there might be some people that don't get comedy. How are you planning
Totally.
are you planning to like still go after them, or you're like, you don't get it, you don't get it?
Yeah, I think we're really a big center for comedy fans. So all in the space, there's huge use cases for gathering different fans together. And this is what I talked about in our announcement launch with Polygon, is that communities is a huge part of crypto. It's a huge part of NFTs. And the idea that having these niche marketplaces where you can find your people, you can find people that are just like you, that are fans of the same comedians as you, that have shared interests. The platforms, started up big on OpenSea and on Rarebone, on the big super rares, where they sort of do everything. But I think as we go further in this marketplace, the niche marketplace, like NBA Top Shot, like a Nifty Comedians, like different sectors are really going to become a bit bigger, because you can find your community, you can find your supporters, you can find the people you love and want to support, and so it's a really big social aspect as well.
Totally agree. What got you, like, I'm curious, like, is your background is in comedy, or you're a comedian, right?
No, it's funny. I've been a fan of a bunch of big comedians since 2014 or 2015. Even before I moved to New York City, I was a fan of Mark Norman's, who we worked with, and I really got the use case of NFTs that I explained earlier, that sort of signaling use cases, and I was just trying to come up with different ideas for different use cases, and I just did out this an innocuous tweet of jokes as NFTs, and I sent that off to Mark Norman, just because he's been nice enough. I've been a fan of his since 2014, a long time, and he was nice enough to respond to me. Every time I got after the show, I would message him and tell him how much I really enjoyed the show. And it was always nice of him to respond, but he responded this time with the response I did not expect. He said, "That's genius," and he wanted me to help him create some NFTs for a commission and just get it started. And really, that's sort of what launched this whole. I live near New York City as well, so I'm very much well versed in the comedy scene as well. So I've been developing relationships with comedians over the past 4 or 5 months, even further that I had toured the comedy shows in New York City when I moved to New York City in 2016, and I met Hannibal Buress, and I'd seen Nikki Glaser, Michelle Ward-Wolfson, and I'm a huge comedy fan. I've actually done a few open mics myself. Me and my friends are doing roasts and roast battles, and my friend just did an open mic in New York City a little while ago. So we definitely have fun with it. But I think bringing that fan perspective to it really adds to the ecosystem. It really adds to what fans want to consume as sort of the fan across the space. I enjoy dark humor and political incorrect humor, but others enjoy relatable humor. And it's really, once you get to know the fans and the community, it's really best served to serve them.
That's awesome. So you reached out to him specifically about NFTs, and
all I did was just send him that tweet. And he was just like, "That's genius. I want, get to work, start creating my NFTs." And since then we reached out to a few other comics and got a fleet of comics. We're working with another comedy group called Haha for Hire out of Philadelphia, and we're talking to local New York City groups as well that are gonna come on board and be featured in our version 1 platform. So cool. Just developing great relationships with these great comics.
That is so funny. I love it. I love the, like, you weren't looking for it. It just kind of came up. It's also because it's a passion as well. Like, it's not like, oh, I think comedians are underrepresented and I don't really like it, but I'll go build something for them. It was like, this is a passion and I need to do this for the people I love.
I'm a comedy fan through and through, like for many years now. And one of my best friends actually just visited New York. He went to a comedy show like every night for a month, and I went out with him for a ton of stuff. And I love these comics. I've been to tons of local shows. I've been to mid-level shows in New York City, developed great relationships, and I have done open mics ever since college in like 2013, 2012, and definitely fancy myself as just either a comedy fan or a comedy enthusiast that wants these comedians to sort of take back the value of the comedy they create. I think of any time you go back to your favorite clip on YouTube or wherever, either when you're feeling down or you feel looking for a laugh, or just late at night when you're scrolling, and YouTube or Instagram, they take up the lion's share of those profits. And just think about the value these comedians they create. They're going to finally sort of be able to take that back and fans are actually going to be benefiting from consuming the content, benefiting from sharing the content, benefiting really from supporting comedians, which is the goal.
Totally cool. How did you, like, what was the first thing you minted or bought? Like, how did you get into NFTs? I know you kind of touched on that a little bit. Maybe tell us about that story, because you're explaining your background of comedy and your passion for it. And I'm always curious how people, like, they've got into NFTs and what was the first thing they minted, and like, what has the journey from there been?
Yeah. So the first thing that we minted actually was Mark Norman written jokes. So we minted like 3 or 4 sort of innocuous tweets from Mark Norman, just to see if there was a sort of a proof of concept or any kind of market appetite for this concept.
So like before, like even like buying NFTs, like you didn't go buy like a moon cat or a crypto kitty. Like you were like, I'm just gonna make.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I'm for NFTs. I want to create. I want to like help people build NFT programs that or NFT use cases that are going to be that are going to change the world and change people's lives. Right. I'm actually not a big like NFT collector myself, just because I'm really focused on creating this NFT platform that's going to help these comedians. But we actually, like I was saying, we minted those few Mark Norman NFT innocuous jokes, and they sold pretty quickly. And like 3 or 4 of them for a decent amount of money, like a few $100 right away. We knew we had some market appetite for this, and we just been focused on shipping since then.
That's so cool. Now, have you bought anything, or are you just strictly like minting and making your own stuff?
Yeah, I definitely thought about buying. I'm a big believer and bullish believer in sort of the crypto art pieces that are going to sort of the avatar pieces for like a crypto punk or a crypto ape. Or I'm a big, for me, the big thing about social is the social signaling. So if you have it right in your avatar as your sort of that's sort of symbolic that you're it sort of shows up that either the true OG status or the sense you get it right. And that when you have a platform that displays it right in your profile picture, no one has to click in any further. They know that right away about you. And so I think that I'm probably maybe I'll look into a mooncat or something that sort of displays your profile. We're actually at Nifty Comedians. We're actually talking to an artist right now about the idea of creating a sort of a comedy, laughing comedy fan, sort of avatar NFT, sort of similar to like Punks and Ape. It's going to be sort of similar versions of just a comedy fan laughing, sort of showing that you're a true comedy fan. That's cool. Yeah. So we're excited about that project too.
Do you consider your platform to be essentially like a fan club for comedy? Because I've heard that word used several times over the last week, that people are able to like show that they're fans of stuff and be, the ultimate fan of the person they're buying. Is that how you view NFTs in this application?
Yeah, it's definitely a big place for super fans, and definitely big places for fan clubs. I'm like on a few fan clubs on Facebook, and it's always fun to just post about people with similar interests. And right. I would say more than a sort of a fan club, I would just say sort of that Comedy Central sort of niche sort of marketplace, sort of like think of a Comedy Central platform, but just with NFTs incorporated, and where fans can benefit, is that sort of that gathering place for these comedy fans, and right. Where they can connect to each other.
Totally get that. Where, in this entire journey, where do you think the comedy clips that you guys are doing now, like they're just videos, where do you think you guys are like most excited to like break into? And then like maybe you can't talk about like your future plans, but like maybe you can, if there are like kind of like these big future plans that you can share. I'm curious how you guys are thinking to like really evolve past just, owning a moment.
Totally. Beyond just owning the moment, we're like I said, participating in as the audience member in the Haha Social Token and sort of getting those rewards. Sure, yeah. And sort of, I'm a big sort of driven by incentives kind of person. I actually designed a social token about a year and a half, or almost 2 years ago now, around the idea of doing good deeds, and the idea of that sort of incentivizing people or providing rewards for people for supporting people are really great. As far as our sort of what our immediate plans are, sort of we're Comedy clubs, podcasts, or jokes are our first three main categories. I love to, one day get into, hour-long specials, get into moments where you collect, like when a fan roasts or heckles a comedian and they shut them down, or a sort of different moments in history, like it was either original. We actually minted a clip of Mark Norman when he first sort of came into the space, and sort of those moments where you first started out as a comic, or like years and years ago. Handel Burr sold his for about 2.25 ETH a little while ago, about from 2003, and just like this special moments that capture. Beyond that, I think our sort of version 2 plans are right now or down the line of just creating that social token experience where you can. And I always talk about how you don't show you're a super fan when you have an NFT, but there's always degrees of it. So if you continue to participate, you continue to be a patron, you continue to support, you continue to be a fan, connect with other fans, you just continue to get rewarded. And it's just a positive sum reality, and it's a way that's sort of great feedback loop for comedy fans to contribute and consume content.
Right. So you said you made your own social token. So you've been in, it sounds like, crypto a lot longer than like recently just like launching this project. Right. Is that true? Like, did you?
Honestly, I would say that I'm still pretty late to crypto. I mean, I started in early 2020, and I created a token called Karma Credits for rewarding good deeds. And I pretty much learned by doing. At the time, I didn't even know what blockchain meant. And I just sort of created a token and started divvying it out for people that were doing good deeds in the world, and they were creating their own things that they wanted to happen in their life to be able to pay it forward. And so I really learned what social tokens were only a few months later, and sort of heard about the Koopa Troopas of the world, the Peter Pans of the world, all the big social token players in the space, Forefront and C Club, and all the great things that people are doing. And I experimented with social tokens for the next few months of just different use cases. And then NFTs, I was actually skeptical of NFTs for a little while. I was one of those people that just didn't get it. And then one of my biggest inspirations, Alex Mazmej, had a tweet about how his NFT could be a tweet, and that it signifies a moment in time. I don't know what happened, but it's just a light bulb went off that it's sort of like that collectible. It's that sort of that signal. It's that that's that work that you just it's valuable because for me it's all about the signature, right? If someone came out tomorrow and did a tweet that was a joke that what's the deal with airplane food, right? It wouldn't have any value because that's Jerry Seinfeld's joke. Because right. Like everyone knows that. So if Jerry Seinfeld did that tweet, it would have immeasurably more value because that's sort of that sort of autograph signed version of it. And when I explain this to comedians, NFTs to comedians, I always say, and this is when I really got it, when I understood this definition, that an NFT is a creative or comedic work signed cryptographically by the creator or the comedian. So sort of like a signed baseball card by Babe Ruth, a signed basketball card, an autographed basketball card by Michael Jordan, or a piece of art with a certificate of authenticity, but online. And then when I explain that to people, the light bulb just clicks like it did for me. But yeah, definitely came from a social token background, and very bullish on it, providing incentives to fans as well.
Okay, there's a lot of things I want to ask within that. I'm going to try to circle back to like getting started because I know there's a lot of people that are watching this show that want to get into either crypto like more and build their own social tokens, or get into NFTs and start their own business. But there was a part of that you mentioned that got me like really thinking, which was you primarily, or you only focus on stand-up comedy right now, correct?
Right.
And you mentioned Jerry Seinfeld. So do you ever think about possibly partnering to get like clips from like funny movies or like funny TV shows? Obviously, like you could partner with like YouTubers who are like comedians and like
for sure
bring them like being the like sub house of comedy altogether, not just stand up.
Yeah,
or is
absolutely.
that just like a good idea? I don't know.
I think it's a great idea. I think that we have all kinds of community members in our Discord and our people we met the Miami Bitcoin conference and different conferences that have had really great ideas. And I think that's a great one of the idea of even the idea of the moments of having a moment where someone heckles a comedian being an NFT came up from someone we met at a conference. And I think that having podcasters, people that are just naturally funny, or people that moments from TV shows or movies, we would have to probably talk to the company that made the movie, whoever else writes the movie, to sort of create it. But different moments that are just really naturally funny in life, or just that by different creators of all kinds, we're definitely open to. Right now, we're shipping our version with the comedians that are either applying on niftycomedians.io that we're looking at, or we're talking to ones we're sending links to the ones that are comedians we're working with. But definitely down the line, we definitely want to consume, reward all kinds of comedy, and take tons of great ideas in the community like yours.
Right. And so I guess the next branch off that is like, how do you guys handle like being that hub where, you know, obviously a comedian can just go mint on OpenSea, or they could just do their own contract. I guess you have that hub effect, but also on top of that, are you guys worried about like having exclusive deals? What's the legal side of this look like for the comedians? Have you had to deal with that at all?
Yeah. So yeah, we're definitely starting to, and we're definitely experiencing a lot. I have a little bit of a background on compliance as well. I'm a CPA, and I've definitely done my fair share of compliance on the tax side and on the legal side. And well, right now we're working with our version 1, and we're just shipping content that's not necessarily exclusive, but it's going to be on our platform, is going to be the place where you can see all of it. You can see that one-stop shop where it's ease of use for the average comedy fan, and you can just scroll and find so much great content as TikTok and Instagram. And then as we get, we're definitely going to be looking at securing as we bring in the TBSs of the world and the NBCs of the world, and they bring in their comics to our platform. We're definitely going to be talking to them about what they're showing, what the shows on their networks meant. If the comedian did a set on Conan, it was this big moment that really catapulted him, whether that was Mark Norman or a different candidate or different comedian. There's sort of rights to that we need to hash out, and it's a great position to be in, because we're the person that sort of brings them into the NFT space, and we're the person that sort of introduces them to that side that could be great for comedy. And so you really form really great positive symbiotic relationships as we figure all this out together.
So cool. Yeah, there's a lot in there. Like, it's really interesting from somebody who is kind of working on projects, but hasn't like launched a company in the NFT space and had to like think through all of that, to hear you kind of talk through and show that it's not easy. Like, it's a very cutting edge technology, but then there are so many other aspects to just throwing a clip online for sale. And also like being an onboarding person for many people in the space, like not just to buying and knowing about NFTs, but to selling their own. So there's a lot of responsibility in that. As I'm coming to find out from people, like, you can have a horrible effect on what we're, all trying to build and promote throughout the world. If the first time somebody comes to sell an NFT, it's horrible for them, or they go to buy one, it's horrible buying experience for them.
Yeah. That's why
it's got to be like very, very easy to buy. So is it going to be with Matic or Ethereum?
So that's why we're making it the best user experience possible. We're very like blockchain agnostic, and we really care about the user experience. We want low fees and just the very simple way to log in with a wallet in the most simple way possible, and buy with the lowest fees possible and the fastest way possible. So right now we're deploying on both Polygon and Near simultaneously, but with Polygon's really great for the scalability and no fees and aspect of it, but Near is also great in that they're very user-friendly wallet and very user-friendly interface. So but we absolutely, number one things that our community said to us is they don't want their fans paying fees. They don't want their fans sort of being confused, and we're creating really easy guides, sort of onboarding. It's definitely be a huge part of it, because we're really looking to bring in sort of the huge comedy fan that's not necessarily native to crypto, and just make it sort of a seamless experience. And we definitely want to be a help to bring that to fruition. Even though I was even focused on low fees and usability, and when I was focused on social tokens, and that's definitely a big use for us, is a great user experience is our number one priority.
That's huge. Yeah, Jack, that makes me super excited to hear that from you, because it is probably the biggest fear I have for some of the people launching stuff right now, is that Yeah, there's, for me who can switch, networks very easily, and I understand, how to know if gas is too high or low, and I have a MetaMask and I can add money to it. I'm not worried about my user experience. Actually, if I have a bad user experience, it's really bad.
Yeah.
But
that's why down the line, we're also going to incorporate sort of being able to buy NFTs with credit cards, just like the Mintables have done, or just we want to make it as easy as possible for people to buy and sell and collect and participate.
Yeah, I love that, because I helped a friend set up a MetaMask for the first time, buy crypto for the first time. And I was on the phone for, 30 minutes just explaining stuff, and them not understanding, like, I have a wallet, but how do I get money in it? And why is it taking long? How do I transfer from Coinbase over? So yeah, that's really cool. Like I said before we got into those last questions, there's a lot of people watching that want to jump into building in this space. Maybe walk us through, like, going from idea to where you are today. Like, you're a CPA. Did you learn to code? Did you go find somebody? What were the resources you used to launch and learn? I'm very interested to hear how that journey from, like, the dev side has gone.
I encourage you to check out our origin story, what we outlined when we sort of announced our NEAR grant, but also I can definitely hash it out here too. So we had this idea, and we got that proof of concept after Mark Norman responded really well. Sold those few jokes, and then we went out and sort of to New York City, talked to a bunch of comedians that we got a couple more on board, and minted some NFTs for them. And from there, we were looking to start a company, right? So we needed funding. We were the Bitcoin Miami conference was coming up too, and so we sort of I entered a NEAR hackathon, and I created a pitch deck just in a NEAR hackathon just to earn NEAR tokens and participate in their ecosystem. I found a great person that really wanted to help out. Her name is Ivana, and she really was able to she was the first co-founder I had. And she's a person that sort of talked about design an initial landing page website, and was able to sort of create a concept with me, so how it could look like as a website. From there, after we got our we went to the conference, and we talked to a lot of great blockchains in different places, and it was a really great fit with NEAR, meeting them at sort of their NFT gallery event, talking about how they send me a lot of developer resources. I mean, developers are definitely hard to come by, and they're really great, and we wanted to be able to be funded to pay them. But even before that, I was learning to code on the back end myself, and I was taking that on and sort of learning to become a product manager, and learning all this as I go. But also, once we got that funding, we were able to hire the funding for me. We were able to hire a front end developer that we were talking to from LinkedIn. We are able to just get a few more people on board that I met through different places on crypto Twitter, and people, another designer I had met. I went to other networking events in New York City. I went to an FTB Friends with Benefits event in New York City. I found this great guy who was a great Alex Wagner, who's a social media growth hacker, and he was really excited about the product. I had known for a long time my friend Brian Plasters, who founded CryptoWays a while back in the social token space. He is just a really great guy. He gave us sort of a roadmap of what we would need as far as the developers, as far as what we need in the space to be successful. And so we found developers, advisors, marketers, designers as we went, are being able to sort of been able to pay them with the grants that we've been gotten from the Polygon and NEAR, and are able to sort of building out the product. And it was a really cool feeling when it's sort of all coming together. I really got that feeling when we first made our company Slack, and it's sort of becoming a real company. It's able to sort of create that sort of it's all coming together. They're finding it right now. The front end's coming together with the designs, and we're working on the back end, and all of it's really coming together for our August launch. And it's a really cool feeling as a sort of a founder and a person that's helping out in the ecosystem. And actually, I also joined the Kernel Fellowship, sort of that 8-week fellowship. We got a lot of support from their community as well. So it's really been a great support from the community. And as we go and we learn, and we give feedback to people, and we help them support comedians, and the comedians are able to profit, and we're able to help people participate and earn as well. It's really a great feeling that when I say that the comedians had really great ideas and impacts, and most of the ideas onto our platform have come from other people. The Rust Battle idea came from someone that we were networking with in New York City. And
so networking is like the primary way that you were able to build this, this site.
It's just great people in the space. And when we went to the NFT day in Miami at the Bitcoin conference, we met really great collaborators and really great builders. And networking's been a huge way, and to really, my team has really been the reason that we're building this site, because we've got great designers. Yvonne has been great. We've got great funding to back end developers that are working the product, and we got to, and so that's sort of the primary reason. I'm sort of managing them, and I'm bringing on new people and having a lot of talks with fundraise and different aspects of our company. But it's really been hats off to everyone that's building the product on our team.
Right. How big were the grants that you got?
So the grant for the Near Foundation was a $15,000 grant, and then the Polygon Grant Foundation, we're keeping that information confidential for now. Okay. But it's definitely been a great both great grants that have allowed us to fund our team and really get things going and get our company going. And really, in the last week, we've had so many great people reach out to us since our launch about the grant on Polygon, the support that their core team has given us, and the Polygon community in general is giving us. We worked with Janil, founder of Coinvise, who recently received a $2.5 million seed round investment, and we've actually minted NFTs with him before. And he's a really great collaborator, and we've got great advisors across the space, whether it be social token advisors, whether it be NFT advisors, whether it be even just Web2 comedy advisors. It's been a great ride, and it's been really great to see the community support us and along the way as we grow.
That's awesome. Wow. Yeah. So I'm so excited to see what you guys do next. It sounds like it's a cool product that you guys are approaching it with, the users in mind, making sure they have a good experience. I guess I asked you where you saw the product going next for you. Where do you see the entire NFT industry kind of going next overall in like the next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years?
So I think profile pic, avatar picture, NFTs are still going to be continuing to be huge, and I think that that's sort of that signaling aspect. When I tell people about NFTs and the sort of the Web2 or the non-crypto native space, I always say that you have your collectibles, your basketballs from Michael Jordan, or your different vinyl records from James Taylor and your man cave. But in a more remote world, everyone's living online. Everyone's interacting online. Your friends, you're going to people's weddings, or people that you've met online. Even dating and all across different platforms. And if you have that sort of that signaling aspect of whether it be a verification check, whether it be a CryptoPunk, whether it be anything in the space that's really going to signal a sort of a status or a collection or a thing that signals what you're doing in the space and how valuable you are, and what you're contributing to the world or different places, is really going to be a huge. I think I'm very bullish on sort of that sort of display platform signaling case. But obviously there's tons of other great use cases out there. We're exploring the ideas of doing comedy NFT shows in the metaverse, in Decentraland and crypto voxels, where we're looking with digital artists that are creating that avatar sort of picture use case I'm talking about, where just ticketing use cases are going to be a huge aspect in the future, whether it be live streams or of recorded content. But there's definitely going to be tons of great NFT use cases for IP rights as well. So we'll see. Gated content, I'm definitely bullish on, but also the signaling aspect of just that collectible NFT.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's very cool. I've also had that conversation this week of how do we utilize the metaverse for not for comedians, but like for different types of shows. And comedy was not one that I had thought of. Like, that is so true. Like, being able to go to a show and like interact with these people in the metaverse is wild. And I didn't get that. There's probably people that are listening that like, how is that different than just like watching, in person through a webcast or live on YouTube? I think it's different. I went to a couple art galleries that were like live and live auctions in crypto voxels, and it completely made me realize that it is not the same as just watching, a YouTube video. There's way more interactability. You're able to definitely deploy different mechanics that you couldn't just through a video. So yeah, I'm bullish on that as well. But I'm very interested that you said that you think the profile photos are going to continue. I know there's a lot of FUD around them. People think there's a bubble. I think that the bubble is true, but we still continue to see expression through those profile photos. It's just social signaling. Now, the whole video we've talked about social signaling being at the core of NFTs, because it's going to be people walking into a bar and they're like, look at my wallet. This is what I own. Or you go on a date and you're like, what NFTs do you own? Or like, it's going to happen. We're going to get to there. I know,
or even like on online dating
profiles,
or even like on like online dating profiles, you'll have your NFTs. You'll have like different things that you interact with online, Facebook, Instagram. We're all interacting online more and more every day. And it's going to be, as we transition to maybe living in the metaverse or any other platform we live on, there's definitely going to be a social signal aspect in person for NFTs, but also just online. But I'm also, I was definitely a big believer in signaling, but also sort of that signature and that cryptographic signature that's why these NFTs matter. They're signed by these comedians and they're signed by the great creators. That you can sort of show that aspect that you're a true fan, that you have that, and they can't be forced. They can't be duplicated. They're immutable. They're public. They're public information that sort of leads that to the true creator. It sort of solves the problem of forge art or forge any kind of fake sort of media related to their signature. But absolutely, the social signaling is being huge as we live in the real world and online in the metaverse.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited, man. You're making me more and more excited to see what happens next with not only comedy, but all these other industries where there's moments to be owned, and to show off what you support and what you're a fan of. And fan club, seriously, there's no better term than fan club being kind of the topic for the next 2 years as we go forward in the NFT space. Well, Jack, it was amazing having you on the show. I have so many more questions, but I'll respect your time. I hope people that are watching the show go check out Nifty Comedians. I will link it below. And if you're on the podcast, it'll be linked in the description. Do you have anything else to pitch us on, or any other things that you want to let us in on what's coming to Nifty Comedian?
No, just sign up for our waitlist on niftycomedians.io. Jump into our Discord. We're twitter.com/niftycomedians. Be on the lookout for upcoming either common NFT drops or our official launch in August. And just get ready for this Comedy Central for NFTs. This one-stop shop where you can see great comedy and also get rewarded and earned by supporting these great comedians.
Awesome. Jack, thank you so much for joining us. And everybody, thank you for listening. We'll catch you on the next one.